Snark Squad. Good evening, babes. The wine is flowing.
Oh, it is heavily flowing tonight.
Like, aggressively flowing. And the delusion is delusioning. And babes, we are in our soft girl era.
Are we, though?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at these pores, and I'm feeling a very chaotic, highly caffeinated, feral energy right now. It is not giving soft.
Look, just let me have my fantasy for, like, 1 second. Because, we genuinely need to talk. I had a full-blown realization this morning. We have like 2 months till summer.
No, do not put that energy into the room. If we don't acknowledge the calendar cannot legally hurt us.
I'm serious. 2 months! And babes, we are not ready. I was looking in the mirror and the panic just like set in. It was a visceral, full-body physiological response. We need a tan.
Desperately.
We need beach bodies. We need cellular-level hydration. Like, we need discipline.
But realistically, we don't have time. Let's just be honest with the Snark Squad right now.
Oh,
The discipline ship has sailed. It sank. It's at the bottom of the ocean.
literally a shipwreck.
Exactly. So, babes, we need a sugar daddy. Let's just buy summer bodies. That is literally the only logical, mathematically sound solution at this point.
Honestly, yeah. I am so ready to just outsource my summer prep. Like, can I just pay someone to drink my daily water intake for me?
That would be ideal.
Right. Like, can someone else go tremble on a Pilates reformer machine for 45 minutes while I just lie on a velvet chaise lounge and watch Bravo? I'm leaning fully into the soft girl delusion where shortcuts are just like a valid lifestyle choice.
The cognitive dissonance is truly staggering. You are asking for the metabolic results of an Olympic athlete while maintaining the lifestyle of a Victorian widow who only consumes rosé and local gossip.
You see my vision. It's totally fine. And speaking of consequences not existing, so tonight we went to Cactus Club. And babes, it was a whole vibe.
It was a dimly lit, aesthetically pleasing trap is what it was.
Shout out to the lychee martinis. Because if you know, you know. They bring them out, and they look so innocent, right? The presentation is so chic.
Oh, they look completely harmless.
Yeah, the glass is perfectly frosted. It's got that little lychee garnish that looks like a peeled eyeball, but like in a high-fashion way. And you take a sip.
And it tastes like pure, unadulterated juice. It tastes like a sophisticated Capri Sun for adults with disposable income.
Exactly. There is zero alcohol burn. So you think, oh, I'm hydrating. The lychee is basically fruit, so this is essentially a cleanse.
Right, and then 45 minutes later, the ambient lighting starts looking a little too flattering, and you are aggressively plotting to overthrow the local municipal government.
Literally texting people I haven't spoken to since, like, the Obama administration.
Oh.
We won't say exactly how many of those martinis were consumed tonight. We'll just be appropriately shady and vague.
Let's just say, when the little black leather book arrived, the tab looked like a very aggressive car payment.
I wanted to cry, and it was all going so smoothly, so elegantly, until the micro moments of mess started, like me completely losing my spatial awareness and spilling a solid quarter of my lychee martini right down the front of my silk top.
Oh my God, that was tragic.
My cute, carefully curated, I'm just effortlessly grabbing drinks in the city outfit, just instantly ruined.
And did you go to the restroom and gracefully dab it out with club soda like a functioning adult?
No. I panicked.
You tried to aggressively rub it with a dry cocktail napkin, creating this massive, highly visible friction spot on the silk.
It was so bad. And immediately after that sartorial tragedy, we entered the chaotic, table-wide debate over ordering just one more round.
The classic downfall of every society since the Roman Empire.
The one more round negotiation is where the soft girl era goes to die.
Oh.
We were sitting there pretending to be so classy, and then the server walks by and it's like a reflex. Actually, yeah, we'll do another.
Yep, zero hesitation.
And honestly, it's decisions like that that are ruining our summer bodies.
It's the absolute lack of impulse control. But whatever, it's fine. We are embracing the mess, which is exactly why we need to transition our focus. Because while our personal mess is safely contained to a Cactus Club corner booth, the mess we are about to discuss is currently being broadcast to millions of people.
Yes. Oh my God, we need to talk about you guys. Because, babes, you have been coming through.
You really have. So, for our new listeners joining the Snark Squad tonight, we usually start our evenings with our favorite segment, Shady, Snarky, or Stupid.
I love this segment so much.
This is where we judge your messy, chaotic, what the actual hell-inducing submissions. You send us your real-life interpersonal drama, and we give you our highly unqualified, wine-fueled verdicts.
And you guys, the submissions this week, I have been pacing my apartment. I have 3 of them printed out right here, and the moral bankruptcy on display is astounding.
I am so ready. Read the first one. Let's judge.
Okay, let's dive in. Submission number 1. This is giving major relationship betrayal vibes.
Let's hear the evidence.
Okay, quote, "Hey, Snark Squad. My husband screamed F you at me in front of all of our closest friends at a party."
Oh, wow. Starting strong.
Right. It goes on. "We've been having major issues, mainly because his beverage company is currently losing $175,000 a month."
Wait.
Psst, let me finish. "And is literally 3 months away from total bankruptcy. He's incredibly stressed, but I am done being his emotional punching bag. So, is it bad that I'm secretly texting his friend who defended me during the party?" End quote.
Okay, let's unpack the sheer gravity of these numbers before we even touch the relationship dynamic. Losing $175,000 a month.
A month.
We just spent 10 minutes agonizing over a Cactus Club bill, and this man is hemorrhaging the equivalent of a luxury sports car every 30 days.
I would literally evaporate. I would turn into vapor and drift out the nearest window.
And his physiological response to that immense, crushing financial pressure is to publicly humiliate his wife.
It's disgusting. The humiliation is one thing, but to couple that with the realization that your entire financial foundation is crumbling to dust beneath your feet, absolutely not. I fully support her texting the friend.
Really? You're giving that a pass?
Text the friend. Send him highly curated selfies. Build an escape hatch.
See, I don't know if I can fully co-sign the pivot to the friend. It's incredibly messy. Let's look at it objectively, right? The husband screaming is stupid. Losing that kind of capital without restructuring the business model is stupid. But the wife secretly texting the friend who played White Knight.
It's survival.
No, that is shady. That is upper echelon, highly calculated shade. You are taking your marital trauma and using it as currency to build a secretive dynamic with a third party.
I hear your logic, but I am leading with my emotions on this one. When you are pushed into a corner by a man who is actively draining your shared assets and your dignity, you look for a lifeline. The friend is the lifeline.
It's a messy lifeline.
Okay, submission number 2. This one is from the other side of that exact kind of dynamic. Morally questionable decisions all around.
Proceed.
Quote, "Babes, I need your take. I was at a party and I defended my buddy's wife when he yelled at her. I pulled him aside and told him he was out of line and needed to apologize. Everyone in the room thought I was being this amazing stand-up guy."
Okay, setting himself up as the hero.
Wait for it. But plot twist, I'm actually just trying to hook up with her.
I cannot.
And it gets worse. She is also my ex-fling's best friend. Am I the villain? End quote.
The sheer, unadulterated audacity to put that into writing and hit send.
It's so gross.
This is textbook covert narcissism, masquerading as altruism. You are observing a woman in a moment of acute vulnerability, observing a husband failing at his primary duty of care, and instead of genuinely trying to mediate, you are using the husband's terrible behavior as a ladder to climb into the wife's good graces.
It's the savior complex deployed as a pickup strategy.
Exactly. It is predatory.
But honestly, is it kind of brilliant? Like, he saw a massive void in her emotional life and he stepped right into it. But the fact that she is his ex-fling's best friend.
That's the part that pushes it over the edge.
That is a violation of the girl code, the bro code, the Geneva Convention, everything. You cannot cross those streams without causing an explosion.
Let's evaluate the quote-unquote brilliance of it. It's only brilliant if it operates in a vacuum, which human relationships never do. What he is doing is engineering a trauma bond. He is presenting himself as the antithesis of the abusive husband.
Look how calm I am. Look how we defend you.
Yes. So the verdict, it's all three. It's shady to scheme like a Batman villain. It's snarky to pretend to be the moral compass of the friend group while doing it. And it's stupid because the inevitable nuclear fallout from crossing those specific social lines is going to ruin everyone's life.
The fallout is going to be biblical. Okay, last one. Submission number 3. A little lower stakes, but heavy on the delusion.
Give it to me.
Quote, "Hi, Snark Squad. I was at a house party and I lied about being in a guy's bedroom for an hour. I just flat out denied it to everyone's face when confronted. The problem is I completely forgot there are literal cameras everywhere recording my every move. Should I double down on the lie?" End quote.
I cannot even analyze this with a straight face. You forgot there were cameras.
I know.
Are you living in a dissociative state? Who forgets they are in a fully monitored environment? It implies a lack of object permanence. If I can't see the camera in my peripheral vision, the camera ceases to exist.
I mean, let's have a little empathy for the panic reflex. When you are confronted with something embarrassing, the body goes into fight or flight. And sometimes the brain just chooses flight by lying.
Flight by lying. I love that.
You just blurt out, "Nope, wasn't me. I was definitely not in that room."
But doubling down when there is video evidence ready to be pulled.
Verdict. Unfathomably stupid. Never lie to the tape. The tape does not have emotions. The tape does not have an agenda. The tape always wins.
It really does.
When you are caught in a lie that is documented on a hard drive, doubling down just shifts you from looking slightly promiscuous to looking pathologically deceitful.
Okay, babes. We have rendered our verdicts.
But I feel a setup coming.
Plot twist, babes.
What?
These aren't from the Snark Squad. These aren't anonymous listener submissions. This is literally the exact mess that went down on Summer House this week. You are kidding me. You completely played me.
I totally got you.
You repackaged the Bravo cinematic universe as listener mail. But honestly, the fact that it seamlessly translates to anonymous Reddit-style drama just proves how universally toxic these dynamics are.
It fits perfectly because the delusion on our screens this week was unparalleled. Babes, grab your glasses, top off that wine, because we are diving into the recap. And we have an immense amount of ground to cover. I need a solid 35 minutes just to process my own physiological response to what we just witnessed.
Let's methodically break this down. We open on Kyle's 41st birthday party, and the aesthetic theme is retirement. Geriatric chic.
Which is so dark.
Given the financial revelations we are about to discuss, it is a brutally ironic theme.
Can we just talk about the visual assault of these costumes for a second? I was not prepared. Kyle is dressed as Herbert the pervert from Family Guy. The ratty robe, the walker, the incredibly creepy, unsettling energy, it was entirely too accurate.
It felt less like a costume and more like a manifestation of his internal state. It was deeply disturbing. But the absolute highlight, the visual that completely broke the internet and caused a collective cognitive dissonance among the viewership, was West. West showed up dressed as Mrs. Doubtfire.
I was screaming.
Full prosthetic-looking face, an ill-fitting, highly flammable gray wig, mountains of floral polyester, and sensible orthopedic shoes.
And here's where the psychology of attraction gets really interesting and highly confusing. The entire Snark squad online was having a collective crisis because why did West look weirdly attractive in that costume?
Wait, you thought that too?
I am asking this seriously. What is wrong with us?
I saw a comment that referred to it as bigger drag and proclaimed it was his hottest look to date. And we need to dissect why that is.
Please explain it to me.
There's something intoxicating about a man who is so inherently secure in his own masculinity and physical presence that he will strap on padding, a gray wig, and giant spectacles, and just completely own the physical space. He wasn't trying to do a sexy Mrs. Doubtfire irony thing. He fully submitted to the bit.
He really did.
And that kind of unbothered confidence is magnetic, even when it's wrapped in a floral moo-moo.
That is exactly it. It's the sheer refreshing lack of vanity. In a house full of people obsessing over their angles and their beach bodies, he just didn't care.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, you had Carl over there who took a much safer route and just dyed his hair silver gray for the party. And let me tell you, old man Carl, Silver Fox Carl, it was doing something to me.
It was very ambitious. Anderson Cooper meets Hampton's Playboy. The silver hair provided a strange gravitas that he usually lacks. He looked like the wealthy, brooding patriarch of a New England family hiding dark generational secrets.
Yes. Oh my God, that is so accurate. But the real MVP of the party, the person who completely hijacked the narrative and is currently my spiritual guru for this soft girl outsourced summer era we are in, is Lindsay Hubbard.
Oh, Lindsay. Lindsay's hunt for a sugar daddy was not just entertaining. It was a masterclass in unabashed, shameless, hyper-focused ambition. She didn't casually mingle and wait for an opening. She was on a tactical, military-grade mission.
She has entered her gold-digging era, and she is not offering a single apology for it. I was taking literal notes. She is dressed in this tight little outfit, and she zeroes in on this older guy.
Target acquired.
Exactly. She bypasses all social norms. She walks right up to him. No hello, how is your evening? No how do you know the host? She says, what's your name? He says, Jeffrey. And she immediately fires back, Grandpa Jeffrey, do you have a fat wallet?
The directness is breathtaking. Let's analyze her funnel here. She didn't ask what industry he works in. She didn't ask about his passions or his golf handicap. She asked for an immediate audit of his liquidity.
An audit of his liquidity. I'm dead.
And when he nervously laughed and said his wallet was upstairs, she didn't miss a beat. She announced to the entire room, I'm looking for a sugar daddy. I need like 45 and plus. I'm ready to be a sugar baby.
I relate to it on a cellular level, especially after looking at my credit card statement post-Cactus Club. Like, yes, Lindsay, bypass the romance and secure the bag. And then she pivots to another prospect. She asks his name, Doris. And she gives him a visual ocular pat down and asks, are you rich? Do I look rich? And he's totally disarmed and says, beautiful, that's the goal.
And then she deploys her ultimate qualifying question.
Yeah.
Do you go to Vegas?
Right? Like, what a specific question.
That is such a highly specific socioeconomic screening question. Do you go to Vegas? Why didn't she ask, do you go to the Hamptons? Or do you ski in Aspen?
Because it's a different vibe entirely.
Exactly. Because Vegas represents a very specific demographic of wealth. It represents liquid, disposable, flashy cash. Someone who goes to Vegas and drops 50 grand on bottle service and high-limit baccarat tables is someone who has the liquid capital to fund a sugar baby lifestyle. Aspen wealth is tied up in real estate and trust funds. Vegas wealth is ready to be spent tonight.
Shay, that is a brilliant breakdown. She even judged his viability based on his accessories. She literally said, you dress nice, you have nice shoes and a nice watch. She was treating that backyard party like a Shark Tank pitch for her financial future.
I will say, however, I do have to play devil's advocate and critique her execution just a tiny bit.
Oh, here we go.
The strategy and the screening questions are flawless, but the venue. You are trying to source a high-net-worth sugar daddy at a Bravo house party where half the attendees are just friends of the cast drinking complimentary Loverboy.
Okay, fair.
You need to take this exact energy to a private aero club, a high-stakes charity auction, or the first-class lounge at JFK. You don't hunt for whales in a backyard wading pool.
Okay, valid point on the location scouting. The environment was flawed, but the vision remains crystal clear. She is unbothered. She is thriving in the absolute mess of her life.
Unlike our birthday boy, Kyle.
Which brings us to the core of the episode, the intervention and the financial ruin. Because while Lindsay is actively trying to secure a bag, Kyle is actively detonating a massive one. We have to set the scene, because the visual irony is too good. Kyle is still in his Herbert the Pervert costume. West, fully dressed as Mrs. Doubtfire, and Jesse pull him aside for an intervention about his toxic behavior from the night before, where he called Amanda, well, we know what he called her, a freaking dumbass B-word.
The visual framing of Mrs. Doubtfire delivering a stern, moral dressing down to a pervert is high camp art.
Yeah.
But the dialogue was incredibly tense. Wes looks him dead in the eye and says, that cannot be the correct way for you to get stuff off your chest, and that was bad.
He unequivocally condemned it. He didn't do the toxic bro code thing of making excuses. He basically said, you are entirely in the wrong, this is black and white, and you need to apologize to your wife.
And how does Kyle, a 41-year-old man, respond to being held accountable? With the classic textbook narcissistic defense mechanism, he immediately deflects the focus away from his abuse and weaponizes his own stress. He says, if I can be honest, I'm basically falling apart. He uses his personal struggles as an impenetrable shield to deflect accountability. You can't be mad at me for calling my wife a bitch because I'm sad.
And then he unleashes the financial bombshells to justify the sadness. And, babes, when I heard these numbers, my jaw physically dropped. I had to pause the TV, stand up, and pour more wine just to process the math.
Let's audit the ledger he presented. He tells Carl that Loverboy is in dire straits. Last month alone, before they even factored in their loan payment, they had a negative cash flow of $175,000.
$175,000 in 30 days.
And their monthly debt servicing, the loan payment just to keep the lights on, is $50,000. And he admits that if things don't drastically turn around, the business goes completely bankrupt in 3 months.
3 months.
He's at a party, wearing a robe, trying to funnel beers, and in his head, the countdown clock to total financial collapse is ticking incredibly loudly.
But that wasn't even the worst part. The part that literally made my stomach drop into my shoes, they discussed it later when the girls were rallying around Amanda. Kyle is personally on the hook for a $3 million loan. And he and Amanda do not have a prenuptial agreement.
We need to explain exactly what that means because the gravity of it is terrifying. When you take out a massive business loan and the business doesn't have enough collateral, the bank forces you to sign a personal guarantee.
Which is horrifying.
This means that if Loverboy goes bankrupt, the corporate veil is pierced. The bank doesn't just take the unsold cans of tea, they come for Kyle personally. They come for his bank accounts, his future reality TV wages, his investments.
Everything.
And because New York is an equitable distribution state, and they have no prenup protecting Amanda's assets from his business debts, they can potentially come for her future earnings as well. He has leveraged not just his life, but his wife's entire future on a sparkling tea brand.
Okay, you are analyzing this logically like a forensic accountant, but I need to push back and inject some humanity for a second.
I'm listening.
Yes, Kyle's woe is me routine is manipulative. I acknowledge that. Like when he's talking to Carl, and Carl's trying to express that he's hurt. Kyle didn't invest in his non-alcoholic venture, Soft Bar. Kyle totally hijacks Carl's moment of vulnerability to cry about his own bankruptcy.
It is the oppression Olympics. Carl just wants a little validation from his friend, and Kyle essentially says, your feelings don't matter because my wallet is bleeding.
But put yourself in his orthopedic shoes for a second. Losing $175K a month, facing a multi-million-dollar personal judgment, that would induce clinical psychosis in anyone. Let me give you a micro example. Remember tonight at Cactus Club when we ordered that second round of martinis and I had that brief, terrifying flash of panic realizing I hadn't checked my checking account balance in a week. And I thought, what if my card declines in front of the waiter?
I vividly remember the look of sheer existential terror in your eyes over a potential $120 tab.
Right. And that was over maybe $100. Imagine taking that feeling, that deep, cold pit of your stomach dread, and multiplying it by 3 million. The psychological weight of knowing you are destroying your family's future has to be unfathomable. I would not just be snapping at people, I would be running down the Montauk Highway foaming at the mouth.
I understand the empathy you're trying to extend, and the financial pressure is undeniably immense. It is a crushing burden. However, we have to draw a hard boundary here. Stress, no matter how severe, does not grant you a fiduciary pass to verbally abuse your partner. It simply does not.
Fair enough.
You can be terrified about bankruptcy, you can be grieving the loss of your dream, but you can still manage not to call your wife a freaking dumbass bitch in front of her peers. What Kyle is doing is utilizing his stress as a get-out-of-jail-free card for his toxic masculinity.
Which is exactly the conclusion the girls came to.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the next major pillar of the recap, the girls' rally and the ultimate betrayal. And babes, this is where the dynamic shifts from standard reality TV drama to a Shakespearean tragedy.
Let's start with the narrative that was presented on screen first. The women rally around Amanda. Amidst all this toxic, high-stakes financial and emotional abuse, it was actually a really grounded, beautiful moment of female solidarity.
It was everything. You have Ciara, Mia, and Lindsay sitting outside with Amanda. And Mia, who is the newest addition but is already operating with veteran-level insight, looks at Amanda and delivers the sharpest truth ever spoken on Bravo. Stop letting him do that stuff to you. You don't deserve it.
It was a necessary intervention.
Yeah.
And then Ciara takes it a step further. She is 10 toes down for her best friend. She diagnoses the situation perfectly. She tells Amanda that if everything Kyle does is reactive and impulsive, Amanda needs physical distance to gain clarity. And she offers Amanda her own home.
I was crying.
She says, come stay with me for a week. She is offering a literal, physical safe haven to extract Amanda from the blast radius of her husband's verbal barrage.
It made me legitimately emotional. Seeing women support each other without hesitation, without asking what they did to provoke it. Just pure, unadulterated support. Ciara acting as the ultimate, unconditionally loyal best friend.
Now, I want you to keep that image of Ciara being the ultimate loyal best friend in your head. Pin it to your mental vision board. Because we need to pivot and discuss the off-screen bombshell that detonated across the internet while this very episode was airing.
I am still physically shaping from this revelation. I am unwell. The entire Snark squad online is an absolute shambles. So the episode is airing. We are watching Amanda sob. We are watching West play the hero defending her honor to Kyle. And then the news drops.
The real-world timeline violently and unapologetically collides with the reality TV broadcast timeline.
Kyle and Amanda officially split in January, which, okay, we saw coming. A blind person could read the neon writing on that wall. But the second part of the news, Wes and Amanda just confirmed via a joint statement that they are currently dating.
Let that process for a moment. The man dressed as Mrs. Doubtfire, who pulled Kyle aside under the guise of holding him accountable, who said you shouldn't talk to Amanda that way, is now romantically involved with Amanda.
I absolutely lost my mind. I was pacing and screaming at my phone. I read the joint statement they released to the press, and it is a masterpiece of PR spin and crisis management. Quote, we've shown up for each other as friends over the years, through all the highs and lows, and what's developed recently was the last thing either of us expected, end quote.
The last thing either of us expected. How incredibly convenient. Let's dissect the true diabolical shade of this situation. Because the layers of betrayal here are staggering. We need to map out the relational web. Who did West previously date in that house?
Ciara. He dated Ciara and he broke her heart.
Exactly. And who is Amanda's absolute best friend in the house? The person who, in the very episode we just watched, wiped away her tears and offered her a safe place to live.
Ciara. It's so messed up.
Amanda is dating her best friend's ex-boyfriend, who also happens to be her ex-husband's close friend. It is incestuous. It is radioactive. The audacity required to look your best friend in the eye while slowly transitioning her ex into your new boyfriend is off the charts.
The tabloids are reporting that Ciara is heartbroken and feels profoundly betrayed by both of them. And Kyle, poor, bankrupt, verbally abusive Kyle, is reportedly struggling to wrap his head around his wife moving on with a castmate from their immediate inner circle.
I can't even fathom the chaotic energy in their group chat right now. It has to be a toxic wasteland. But we have to go back and reevaluate the entire episode we just watched with this new sinister context. When Wes pulled Kyle aside, was he genuinely being a good friend trying to better his bro, or was he playing three-dimensional
Yeah,
chess?
that's what I'm saying.
This is what makes it high art. It completely reframes West's white knight moment from an act of bro code accountability to an act of hostile corporate takeover. Was he holding Kyle accountable out of the goodness of his heart? Or was he actively positioning himself to Amanda as the safe, supportive, emotionally intelligent alternative to his screaming, bankrupt husband?
Oh, he was totally planting the seed.
Look how poorly he treats you, Amanda. Look how safely I stand up for you.
It is exactly submission number 2 from our opening segment. I defended my buddy's wife, but I'm actually just trying to hook up with her. West is the living, breathing embodiment of our shady, snarky, or stupid segment.
Now, I have to play devil's advocate here for a moment because we are painting them as villains, but let's look at the facts. Kyle and Amanda's marriage was effectively a corpse. It was over. They were financially and emotionally bankrupting each other. And West and Amanda are two single consenting adults. Technically, no one cheated. Is it really that diabolical for two people who understand the unique pressure cooker of reality TV to find comfort in each other?
Yes. 1,000 times yes. Because of the girl code, you do not date your best friend's ex. Especially not the best friend who literally offered you her home when your husband was emotionally terrorizing you. The lack of loyalty is astounding. The whiplash of watching Ciara cry tears of genuine love and concern for Amanda, knowing that Amanda is currently hooking up with the man who humiliated Ciara. It makes me physically ill, but I am entirely captivated.
It's a modern tragedy set against the backdrop of the Hamptons, which perfectly segues into the next phase of our recap. Moving on, and housewarmings. Because while Amanda and West are covertly blowing up the entire social ecosystem of the friend group, Ciara is out here making major grounded life moves.
Ciara is proving that she is the only functioning adult in this entire cast. She announces at breakfast, very casually, that she bought her grandparents' home in North Carolina. She saved her Bravo checks, she paid her taxes, and she bought the actual physical house her grandfather built to keep it in the family name.
It was such a wholesome, profoundly mature moment. We need to talk about the concept of generational wealth, especially in the Black community, and how significant it is that she used her reality TV platform to secure an asset that ties back to her lineage.
Absolutely.
And the contrast at that breakfast table was glaring. You have Ciara making sound, long-term real estate investments, and sitting directly across from her are Amanda, who doesn't even own a starter apartment in New Jersey, and Kyle, who is $3 million in debt and facing imminent bankruptcy.
The juxtaposition was brutal. Kyle even tried to make a self-deprecating joke out of it. He was like, well, I put my deposit down on Loverboy, and crickets.
Total silence.
The silence was deafening. It wasn't funny. It was just a bleak reminder of his failures.
Because it's not a joke. It's the reality of a man who gambled his stability and lost. But someone who is definitely not losing sleep over financial ruin is Lindsay, because she is busy throwing an incredibly lavish, over-the-top housewarming party.
Let's dissect this party, because the vibes were immaculate. She is wearing this structured, metallic floral dress, looking absolutely stunning, completely unfazed by her ex-fiancé Carl showing up. And this is not a casual gathering. The party is fully catered, there is a premium open bar, and there is a literal live piano player in the living room.
Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
It wasn't a housewarming party to celebrate a new lease. It was a highly produced audition tape for The Real Housewives of New York.
100%.
She is aggressively signaling to the network executives, look at my elevated lifestyle. Look at my flawless event hosting capabilities. Look at how I navigate conflict in a glamorous setting. Upgrade my contract.
Give the woman an apple. She gave us high glamour, she gave us tactical sugar daddy hunting, and she generously provided the elegant venue for the next big, messy confrontation. Dara versus Bailey.
Ah, yes. The rumor mill. So, to recap the timeline, earlier in the episode, Bailey whispered to Lindsay that Dara spent an entire hour locked in Ben's bedroom and emerged wearing a completely different outfit. Dara eventually catches wind of this gossip and marches up to confront Bailey at the party.
Dara walks right up to her. looks her dead in the eye and firmly, indignantly denies it. She says, "No, I was not in his room. That is a complete fabrication." She's so confident in her delivery.
And this is where the post-production editors earn their industry awards, because Dara issues this firm, unwavering denial, and the show immediately cuts away from the party to roll the 4K, time-stamped, night vision security footage of Dara walking into Ben's bedroom, staying in there for an extended period, and walking out in a completely different set of clothes.
Caught in 4K. It's literally submission number 3 from our opening segment. Let's examine the psychology of this. Why do these people lie when they know, for an absolute fact, that there are cameras bolted to the corners of every ceiling?
I am going to brutally mock Dara for this, because it is amateur hour behavior. We touched on the fight-or-flight panic response earlier, but you are an employee on a reality television show. Your entire contractual existence in that house is to be documented. You cannot pull a Shaggy and say, "It wasn't me," when the producers have the digital receipt.
You just can't.
You have to pivot to owning the narrative. You look Bailey in the eye and say, "Yeah, I was in there changing. What's your point?" Lying, a transparent lie, doesn't make you look innocent. It makes you look fundamentally foolish.
It was excruciatingly embarrassing to watch. But incredibly, it was not as embarrassing as the final conversation of the episode. The morning after the party, the alcohol has finally left Kyle's system, and he and Amanda sit down to talk.
And the tone is incredibly bleak. It is the hollow shell of a marriage. Amanda asks him the million-dollar probing question. Why did you have to be told to apologize? Because Wes literally had to pull him aside and instruct him to say sorry.
And Kyle's defense, he says he was processing. And Amanda, finally finding a spine, snaps back, think and process. "You walked past me and said, 'F you.' Like, what complex emotional algorithm is there to process about that?"
It is the devastating realization that he didn't actually feel remorse for abusing her. He only felt remorse that his male peers called him out on it. His guilt was rooted in optics, not empathy. And Kyle finally looks at her and admits, "Our relationship is in troubled water."
Troubled water. Babes, raise your glasses and cheers to the understatement of the absolute century. They aren't in troubled water. They are at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. The submarine has imploded, and there is zero oxygen left.
And we, the omniscient audience, know exactly how that story ends. It ends in a finalized January split, and Amanda immediately rebounding with the man in the Mrs. Doubtfire wig.
I need to take a deep cleansing breath. That was an overwhelming amount of information. The delusion, the financial ruin, the betrayals, the unseasoned lies.
Let's transition to segment 1, our hot girl/hot mess scale, because we need to officially rank the trajectory of this cast right now. Let's start with the positive end of the spectrum, the hot girls. Who is thriving this week?
Number 1 on the hot girl list, without a shadow of a doubt, is Ciara. She is a bona fide homeowner. She is securing her family's real estate legacy. And in hindsight, armed with this new West and Amanda dating news, she successfully dodged the massive manipulative bullet that is West Wilson.
Absolutely. The internet discourse is giving her universal praise for being a fiercely true friend to Amanda, even while Amanda was secretly laying the groundwork to stab her in the back. Ciara's public stock has never been higher. She is thriving. Who else makes the hot girl list?
Lindsay. Because she is so profoundly unbothered by societal expectations, she is throwing RHONY-level parties. She is openly demanding the financial credentials of grandpas in the Hamptons. She knows exactly what she wants, she articulates it clearly, and she goes after it without an ounce of shame. That unapologetic ambition is pure hot girl energy.
I have to agree. In the economy of reality television, shamelessness is a highly valued currency, and Lindsay is exceptionally wealthy in that regard. Now let's look at the bottom of the scale. The hot messes. Who is actively spiraling?
I mean, Kyle is the undisputed king of the hot messes this week. He has $3 million in personal debt. His beverage empire is crumbling. He's screaming expletives at his wife in public. And his marriage is actively dissolving on camera. He is the dictionary definition of a spiral.
He has become a walking, talking cautionary tale about the dangers of over-leveraging your life. Joining him in the hot mess category are our new favorite covert villains, West and Amanda.
They are entirely in their villain era, backstabbing your most loyal friends, annihilating the girl code, and using a marital intervention as a covert seduction technique. It's so messy and dark.
They're dropping tactical nukes on the entire social ecosystem of the house. And finally, rounding out the hot mess list is Dara. Getting caught in a bald-faced lie on multi-camera network television is always a terrible amateur look.
So true. Okay, moving on to segment 2. The Summer House Survival Guide. If we, the Snark Squad, were suddenly dropped into the Hamptons with this chaotic cast, what fundamental rules would we follow to ensure our survival?
Rule number one, and this is an absolutely non-negotiable directive, never, ever go into business with your spouse if you do not have an ironclad, legally binding prenuptial agreement.
Yes, protect your assets at all costs. Love is a temporary chemical reaction, but a $3 million personal liability judgment from a commercial bank is forever. If your partner asks you to bet the roof over your head on a sparkling alcoholic tea brand, you pack your bags and run the other way.
Rule number two, conduct a thorough environmental audit for red blinking lights before you lie about sneaking into a boy's room. Spatial awareness is key to survival. Look at the ceiling, look at the corners. If you see a camera lens, immediately speak your truth, because the post-production editors are ruthless and they will expose you.
And rule number three, if your husband's supposedly good guy bro suddenly takes a profound, intensely deep interest in your emotional well-being and starts publicly defending you against your spouse, sleep with one eye open.
Or just start dating him, apparently. That seems to be the highly effective Amanda strategy for conflict resolution.
Okay, let's get into segment 3, the red flag roundup. Because the soft girl delusion was real this week, but the red flags were waving so violently they could guide a plane to the tarmac.
Red flag number one is Kyle's extreme financial secrecy and how he weaponizes it to maintain control. The fact that Amanda admitted she knew something was bad with the business, but didn't question him deeply because he went to business school.
That broke my heart into pieces. She blindly surrendered her financial autonomy to him simply because he had a degree, and he used that blind trust to dig them into a multi-million-dollar grave. And then he uses the crushing stress of that secret grave to justify verbally abusing her when she asks for basic respect. It is a massive, glowing, radioactive red flag.
Red flag number two is West using the concept of accountability as a Trojan horse to seamlessly slide into Amanda's life. He weaponized therapy speak and the illusion of bro code to isolate Amanda from Kyle and present himself as the emotionally intelligent alternative. It's highly manipulative and deeply concerning.
He is a literal wolf wrapped in a Mrs. Doubtfire cardigan. And okay, red flag number 3, we haven't even touched on this yet, but it offended me on a deeply personal level. Dara cooking unseasoned eggs for KJ the morning after the housewarming party.
I was waiting for you to bring this culinary atrocity up. It was a crime against breakfast.
Rio watched in horror. She cracked the eggs straight into a dry pan, scrambled them around until they looked like yellow rubber, and slid them onto a paper plate. No salt, no cracked pepper, no butter, not even a dash of hot sauce. Unseasoned food is a profound moral failing.
It really is.
It shows a complete lack of empathy for the human being who has to consume it. If you hand me pale, rubbery, unseasoned eggs, I am not saying thank you. I am calling the local authorities.
It demonstrates a fundamental lack of joy in one's life. You cannot fundamentally trust the character of a person who doesn't season their eggs. It's an enormous, undeniable red flag.
Totally agree. All right, final segment before we wrap up this emotional marathon. Segment 4, soft girl or chaos demon. We have to neatly categorize these people into their rightful boxes based on their psychological profiles this week.
Let's start with the soft girls. Ciara is the ultimate undisputed soft girl this week, crying sentimental tears over purchasing her grandfather's house, preserving her family's history, and being fiercely, unconditionally loyal to her friends. She's incredibly grounded in a house full of unchecked lunatics.
Yes, Ciara is our soft girl queen. We bow down to her maturity, and weirdly, I'm going to make a controversial choice and put Carl in the soft girl category this week too.
I need you to vigorously defend that choice.
Look at him. He just wants to quietly sell his little non-alcoholic beverages, dye his hair a distinguished gray, and according to the comments online, get intensely nostalgic over a specific bathroom trash can. He's just existing in his own little peaceful, sober, highly manicured bubble. He even brought a thoughtful gift to his ex-fiance's housewarming party. He's not causing drama. He's incredibly soft right now.
Okay, your logic is sound. I'll allow the placement.
Yeah.
He's in a gentle, rehabilitative era. Now for the chaos demons, Kyle is the obvious, unavoidable first draft pick.
Screaming insults across a patio, blowing millions of dollars of investor capital, and wearing a pervert costume while doing it. He is the absolute king of chaos. He thrives in the mess.
But the ultimate chaos demons, the reigning monarchs of destruction this week, who orchestrated the true downfall of the house, are Amanda and West.
Detonating the entire friend group, ruining Ciara's trust in humanity, sneaking around in the shadows while playing the victims. They are agents of absolute calculated chaos, and they left 0 survivors in their wake.
And we legally have to include Lindsay in the chaos demon category, because she is, by her very nature, always a chaos demon.
But she's our favorite chaos demon. We deeply respect the hustle of aggressively asking grandpas if they frequent the high-limit tables in Vegas. She is a chaotic neutral, and we love her for it.
Well, the bottles are officially empty. We have analyzed every conceivable angle of this disaster.
I am emotionally and physically exhausted. Honestly, looking back at our evening, my little Cactus Club panic over spilling a lychee martini on my silk top and spending an extra $100 on an unneeded round of drinks, it really truly pales in comparison to losing $3 million, bankrupting your marriage, and actively stealing your bestie's ex-boyfriend. Our soft girl delusion is actually incredibly tame and manageable.
It really forces a profound shift in perspective. We might not have our summer beach bodies perfectly sculpted yet, and our discipline might be non-existent. But at least our bank accounts aren't actively imploding on national television, and we haven't betrayed our closest friends in a complex web of reality TV deceit. We are doing just fine.
Amen to that. I will gladly take my impending lychee martini hangover over Kyle's shattered life any day of the week. So, Snark Squad, I have to ask you, are you ready for summer? What is your toxic, delusional summer habit that you're desperately trying to break? And most importantly, who is your absolute favorite on the show this season after all this incredible mess?
We genuinely need to hear your takes on this.
Yeah.
Because the entire social dynamic of the show has completely irreversibly shifted.
Seriously, go to our socials right now and let us know your unfiltered thoughts. And babes, do not forget to do the essential housekeeping. Rate the pod, leave us a glowing review, subscribe so you never miss an unhinged conversation. And please keep sending in your messy, shady, snarky, or stupid submissions. We live to analyze your drama.
Send us the absolute worst, most morally bankrupt decisions you've made this week. We promise to judge you fairly, but strictly.
And your mandatory homework for tonight. Send this recording to one friend who is also absolutely, positively not ready for summer. Share the panic. Share the delusion.
Misery loves company, especially when it's accompanied by premium reality TV gossip and a heavy pour of wine.
Thank you guys so much for being part of the chaos. Thank you for sharing your Tuesday evening wine with us, for riding this incredible emotional roller coaster, and for being the absolute best community ever.
We couldn't analyze this mess without you. Or without the wine. Mostly the wine. But also you.
Stay messy, stay delusional. And we'll see you on the snark side. But before we go, I just want you to sit with this one deeply unsettling thought until we talk next week. If West was planning this hostile takeover the whole time, how long was he secretly looking at Amanda before Kyle ever even yelled at her?
That is a chilling, terrifying question. See you next week, babes.